I am just amazed. Whenever the left needs a distraction, whenever they need to divert attention from the latest bullshit they're involved in, it just falls right in their laps. Just right in their laps. The perfect thing they need to divert attention. And just whatever that was happening the day before that was just so insane on their part, it just gets all forgotten and all just move on to the next thing, move on to the next crisis. I mean, the way that the media and these politicians live off of crisis and use it to just divert attention off their misdeeds, it never fails. And this latest shooting in Minnesota is a perfect example. If you haven't been paying attention in this country, there's been a bunch of bullshit going on ever since that man became president. And it just been jumping from the next one to the next one. Nobody talks about Governor Cuomo anymore. Like, his crimes didn't just disappear. The fact that he's under investigation just didn't disappear, but yet, it's not even on the news cycle. You know? The border crisis, that just didn't disappear. It's going on right now, but yet, nope, that's not on the news cycle. The infrastructure bill that only spends 5% on infrastructure. That's not a news cycle anymore, even though that's going to affect everybody's future. You know? No, that's not in the news cycle anymore. That's gone. Everything's about this shooting, you know, and then to the point where the major news networks were sending people there to record and everything. Now, there's so many things wrong about this. I mean, we just start with the shooting itself. Anybody implying that this lady killed this young man because she hates black people, like, I don't know how cut and dry does it have to be. This lady obviously made a mistake. It doesn't excuse what she did, but she obviously thought she had a taser. I don't know how you do that, but she did. And shot the man accidentally. So, no, it wasn't murder. It was an accident. It's horrible. It's horrible what happened. But to say that it's white supremacy, that it's police brutality, all these fucking things, which is not, you know? I mean, let's look at the facts of the case. It's all right there on camera, okay? It's all right there. It's not like this ambiguous, you know, there's no camera footage. They released the camera footage immediately, along with the identity of the person, which is weird because it's like we still don't know the name of the Capitol Police officer that killed Ashley Babbitt. Yet we know the name of this woman. We knew how long she was a police officer, what she did, where she lives, all her qualifications, all her everything. Within 24 hours, we know. Yet here we are, how many months later after January 6th, and we still don't know the name of that guy that killed Ashley Babbitt. I don't know. That's a weird one. Not only that, we know the identity of this young black man. Not only that, we know what they were doing. The first reports that came out, even the mother was pushing this. The day of the shooting, she was pushing this on live television. Pulled over for his air freshener. Turns out that's just a lie. That's totally made up. He was pulled over because his tags was expired. Okay? Now, first mistake right there. First mistake the young man made. Like, if you don't want to get pulled over by the police, your car registration should be in order. If it's in order, they're not going to pull you over. You know, if you're not speeding, if you're not violating any traffic law, they're not going to pull you over. Well, that's why they pulled him over. Not because his air freshener was hanging from his fucking mirror. Yeah, that's a false narrative. So then why they try to arrest the young man? Well, they didn't try to arrest him because he has expired fucking registration tags. No. The man has a warrant. Well, why does he have a warrant? Well, he skipped his court date. What was he in court for? A gun violation. Which, by the way, violated his previous violation. See, how much people know this? That warrant was for him violating his parole thing because he was convicted of aggravated robbery. Aggravated robbery. Well, I don't know if he was convicted yet, but that's what he was in trouble for the first time. He held a gun to a woman and tried to steal her money. And somehow he got out on bail after doing that. Holy crap. So much traffic here. So he does a really bad crime, aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon. That's a bad crime. Somehow he gets out on I think it was $40,000 his bail. Wow, I want to know his lawyer. And then he violates that by having possession of a fucking gun. Now, how is that young man not in jail? You just got caught committing a freaking armed robbery, and then you post bail, and then you get caught again with a gun. How is this young man still on the streets? He shouldn't be on the streets. That was a fucking problem waiting to happen right there. Gee, I wonder why he's still in the streets. Could it have anything to do with that state's move to defund the police, to not police? Huh, I don't know. Oh, that doesn't mean he should have got... No, nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying what happened to him was wrong. It was an accident, obviously. That woman's life is over. She'll never be a cop again. She's probably going to go to jail for it. You know? Involuntary manslaughter, and they'll probably ride over it. You know, because they nothing less than a first-degree murder charge will work for these people. I mean, really, what do they want? Does the mob want the police to just hand over this woman so they can string her up on a tree and hang her? I mean, that's what it seems like. That'd be the only thing to satiate their lust for justice. Again, nobody talks about this young man and what he did in his life to put himself in that situation. So, obviously, when they pulled him over and then they ran his name, they found this out. Hey, this guy needs to be arrested. He violated his parole terms. This guy needs to be arrested. Oh, what is he on parole for? Fucking aggravated robbery with a gun. Fuck, he might have a gun. You know, like, put yourself in the shoes of the cop there. Oh, she's a 26-year veteran. She should know better. She should know how to deploy her taser. That's obvious, right? But you can't tell me that she wasn't fucking nervous. Of course she was nervous. Of course she wasn't thinking correctly. You know? But she wouldn't have to be in that situation if this young man had just followed the rules in life. You know, nobody talks about that. If this young man had his registration in order, he would have never got pulled over. If this young man hadn't broken the law multiple times, the cops wouldn't fucking look at him differently. Again, nobody talks about that. So that's not in the narrative. The narrative is, again, an unarmed black man is shot by the police indiscriminately. That's the narrative. And now they're back to May 2020 again. Riots in the street, looting, just ridiculousness. And to tie it into the Chauvin case, you're telling me that this has no bearing on the Chauvin trial. This is what the judge is trying to say, because the defense attorney motioned, hey, you need to sequester the jury. Because, you know, according to, I don't know how the media finds out, but they find this shit out. Someone on the jury lives in that fucking town. So you telling me that she's not going to know anything about this and it's not going to sway her opinion? Of course it is. No, the judge says, no, this has nothing to do with it. It's like they're literally chanting George Floyd's names in these same riots. Not only the name of this young man that just got killed, but George Floyd's name. So you telling me it has nothing to do with the Chauvin trial? Bullshit. The interactions that these people in Minnesota have with the police, you tell me it has nothing to do with the George Floyd trial? Bullshit. It has everything to do with it. How can Derek Chauvin get a fair trial? You tell me. I think what I heard was that today his lawyer is gonna fucking push for a fucking mistrial. Because how can he get a fair trial in this environment? How can he? The fucking mayor of that town fires the guy in charge, the commissioner, because he said, oh, this lady deserves due process just like anybody else. So he fires him. And then on top of that, he won't back up the chief. So the chief resigns. You want to talk about chaos in that fucking city? There's chaos. Police don't know what to do. And I totally understand. You can't see the writing on the wall. The media's playing this up. Why? Because not only does it, like I said in the beginning, distracts from whatever else was going on with the left. You know, this just fits perfectly in their narrative, and it can rile people up. And the way they're reporting it, you can just look at the headlines they run and the way they report on what happens in the day in this trial. It's totally different if you watch the trial. It's totally different. Like, if you were to just watch CNN, you would think, oh man, it's just going swimmingly for the prosecution and Derek Chauvin is fucked. And like, no, I've been watching a trial, the actual trial, not fucking what CNN wants you to see or believe. The actual trial, and in my opinion, there's no way that Derek Chauvin gets convicted of murder, let alone manslaughter. I mean, he might get convicted of manslaughter, but there's no way in hell he gets convicted of any of those murder charges. There's too much evidence, right? So why is the media reporting this way? Because I think they're setting up their own fucking story. There's no Trump in office, right? There's no Trump, so there's nothing for them to rile against. Hey, you can just look at their ratings. Nobody's watching them because there's no Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, they try to push that narrative, but nobody fucking believes it because why? Trump's not in office. So I think they're setting up their next news cycle because this trial is going to come to an end pretty soon, which again surprised me. The defense gets what, 3 fucking weeks almost? I mean, the prosecution gets three weeks of fucking witnesses, and the defense only gets half a week. I don't fuck. That doesn't make any sense to me. What the fuck? Maybe the defense doesn't have a lot of witnesses, but that doesn't make any sense to me. it seems like the media is just setting this up because they know deep down that the chances of this man getting convicted of the charges they want him to get convicted is very slim. I don't see how you can convict him of murder. So they're just setting it up. They're making people believe that he's going to go to jail or get convicted of all these charges. So that when it doesn't happen, people are like, wait a minute. CNN said he was going to get convicted, and they want people to be pissed off, and they want these riots to happen, which are inevitably going to happen. Look, it's happening right now over what happened to this young man the other day. The American people is getting manipulated every day. Every day. I mean, look at that video that Project Veritas put out. The chief fucking guy that fucking runs the shows, right? One of the head guys is admitting on camera that they're pushing propaganda. What is propaganda? It's information meant to fucking sway people's fucking minds and thoughts. That's what propaganda is, whether it be true or not. And this whole fucking thing, this whole George Floyd thing is propaganda. It's been that from the start. Propaganda. But again, that's what sells, right? Reporting news the way it should be reported, reporting the truth, that doesn't sell. Which, I mean, says a lot about the American public. Insanity and fucking chaos and lies, that's what sells. Hey, where have we come as a people? I mean, the press is supposed to be on our side. They're not. They're manipulating us to get what they want. How can you not see that? Well, again, because half the country truly are idiots.